Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. So today we have a star collecting video for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Drongon's Aether-Runners box that's coming out alongside Broken Realms Bellicort for the Kharadron Overlords. So let's get started with what exactly is inside this box. So to start with, the hero we're getting inside this box is an Endrin Master with the dirigible suit. This is the flying version of Endrin Master, and what's really cool about this character more than anything is that he unlocks both your Skywardens and Endrin Riggers as battle line options, meaning you can take an army full of the Balloon Boys. Now, in the box alongside him, you get some Balloon Boys, which is great. This is all going to just compound into wanting to do that same sort of army together. So you're getting 6 models, which can be built as either Skywardens or Endrin Riggers. However, the battalion that this box set is meant to represent does require a unit of Skywardens and Endrin Riggers, one of each. So there's that you want to sort of think of when you're building this battalion up. Now, with that in mind, we're going to look at how we can build this into an army through the course of the video, but we've got this as our base. So let's talk a little bit about Skywardens and Endrin Riggers, and we'll talk about Skywardens first. So Skywardens and Endrin Riggers, we should say as well, cost the same amount of points, and we really sort of want to talk about what their differences are. So, shooting wise, they've both actually got the same available options for their shooting weapons. There's no changes in any of that at all. However, the Skywardens, their main weapon in combat is the Skypike, the giant spears you can see there. They've got 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, rend 1, and a damage of D3. You then get gun butt attacks for any models that have any of the different guns. They both variations of the unit have the hitches rule where they can sort of tag onto the airships as they move around. But the one thing that the Skywardens have is they have mines that they place. You can see them sort of popping up on the side of the Balloon Boys there. And so Sky Mines, if an enemy unit that can fly ends a charge within 1 inch of a friendly unit with this ability, you can roll 1 dice for each model in that enemy unit, and for a 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound. Then you've got time charges as well, where you roll a dice for each enemy unit that's within 3 inches of this unit immediately before this unit makes a retreat move, and on 4+, they suffer D3 mortals. So you get a bit of mortal wound potential out of them, whether or not they're retreating out of combat or if something's charging them that has fly. That really is their big difference. Now we'll start talking, I guess, about Endrin Riggers, which are the other option. So Endrin Riggers, as we mentioned, they've got similar sort of output with ranged weapons. However, they have an Aethermatic Saw instead of the Skypike. They only get 1 attack compared to the Skywardens 2, but it is a much better attack at 3s to hit, 2s to wound, rend 2, and damage D3 the same though. Now, their thing they get is that they have the Endrin Craft rule, where at the start of your hero phase they can prick a friendly Sky Vessel unit within 1 inch of them and roll 1 dice for each model in the unit. On a 4+, it heals a wound, which is pretty cool. So they can heal up your engine ships. So really with these, you're looking at the different aspects of what they can do. So you've got a much more better attack on the Endrin Riggers, but the Skywardens have more attacks and have the mortal wound potential as well. Being that they are the same points, there's definitely pros and cons of both, and generally the favoured option a lot of people seem to go with in the meta is the Endrin Riggers. So with that in mind though, let's get looking at how we can expand this box set and build up a nice little army of these Skyfaring Dwarden, the Kharadron Overlords. So where do we go from here for our Kharadron Overlords? Well, for starters, I'd recommend actually looking at this Star Collecting Kharadron Overlords box, as it contains 2 of the units I'm going to talk about here. It does contain an additional hero, which is a normal Endrin Master on foot, and he's a fine, serviceable hero, though I think you've got better options than him, but you're generally probably going to save a bit of money buying a Gun Hauler and your Thunderers, purchasing that box, and you're going to get a cool model for free. The Endrin Master is cool. Now, the reason I suggest picking up this box is I think at 1,000 points and a good little starter army, a Gun Hauler is a really great buy to get you an airship, which is really why you're getting into Kharadron Overlords, because airships are cool. But also, there's a cool little thing that Gun Haulers can take within the Kharadron Overlords book called Coldbeard's Collapsible Compartment. And what this does is it allows a Gun Hauler to have a transport capacity of 5 models. And that's where the 5 Thunderers in that box set come into it. You can fit 5 Thunderers into that little Gun Hauler and have this cool little flyer base flying around your flanks. It's a really cool little addition that you can do. Not to mention too, you can have people hitch onto that little Gun Hauler as he flies around as well. But my next suggestion, and the hero I would suggest probably investing in instead of the Endrewmaster that comes inside of that box, is the Aether-Chemist. And the reason I suggest the Aether-Chemist is because, for me, he's got one of the coolest little things you can get in Kharadron Overlords, and that is a particular artifact. I know he's got some really cool abilities that help buff your army around the place as well, but for me, I think his best thing that he does is give you an artifact called the Spell in a Bottle. For me, it is one of the coolest things in the game, and yes, I know people love to throw a Warp Lightning Vortex in there and ruin people's day, but it is just so cool an item. I love the idea that Kharadron Overlords have gone out, collected spells from around the world, and literally contain these endless spells in these magical, arcane, scientific bottles to throw out at enemies. I mean, what's not cool about that? But I did mention he's got some cool little abilities, so he's got Etheric Augmentation as well. This is an ability in your hero phase. You pick one friendly Skyfarer's unit, hold within 12 inch of this model, and until your next hero phase, you can reroll wound rolls of 1 made by that unit. This ability cannot be used by an Aether-Chemist as part of a garrison or a friendly unit as part of a garrison, but it is a cool little thing. You can stick him near your firebase of Archnaut Company and really help them get those extra wounds through with longer range weapons like their Skyhawks. Speaking of Archnaut Company, I think every Kharadron Overlord player should own 3 boxes of these guys. I know with the newer book that you have other options for your battle line, but for me, I think owning 3 boxes of Archnaut Company eventually, you can start off with 1 or 2 because you've got other options there, but I think eventually everyone wants to have 3. For me, just owning 3 means you can have the most variety of a list you can play with Kharadron Overlords. It's a fantastic base just to start off on and expand from there. Once you've got those 3, it's like playing other armies. You've got that battle line unit where you take the certain amount of battle line and now you can just express yourself with the rest of the army. Archnaut Company are that for KO. They're also pretty decent. A 4-up save with the ability to reroll saves thanks to the Aether share and the ability to pick triumphs which could be reroll saves. 4+ save rerolling is pretty decent. I mean, that's a good save and they will stay on objectives that turn longer than your opponent wants them to because of that ability. In fact, they come in 10 models to start off with, means they get that Aether share guaranteed, so it's really a good purchase, getting some Archnaut Company into your army. And so here we have a sample army list for you. We're going to be playing Kharadron Overlords, obviously, and we're going to be in the Baron Zilfin subfaction. Now, Zilfin is an interesting subfaction. I'll see some of you may be asking why we're going it. Well, first of all, this gives us access to Spell in a Bottle while getting some additional rules through a subfaction, which a lot of the others don't let us do. How this works is because the Zilfin command trait that we are forced to take only has to be taken if we have an admiral. If we have a different character as a general, we don't have to take that command trait, and thus we're going to have an Aether-Chemist with the command trait collector, because this is going to give us the extra artifact that we need, because we still have to take the Staff of Ocular Optimization from the subfaction to allow us to get Spell in a Bottle, which we want on the list because it's amazing and fun. So we've got an Aether-Chemist. He is our general, he has the command trait collector and the artifact Spell in a Bottle. We've then got an Endrewmaster with Durable Suit who has the artifact Staff of Ocularization. That is a tongue twister if you try to say it too fast, but we've got it. That gives him a little bit of extra bonus to hit in shooting. For battle line, we've got 2 units of 10 Archnaut Company, and then other units, 2 units of 3 Endrinriggers and 3 Skywardens. So the thing with this one here is that they could either be both Endrinriggers or both Skywardens. They're both the same amount of points. It's completely up to you how you want to build this up. You could do 1 unit of 6 if you really wanted to of the same thing as well. We're then got a Grunstock Gunhauler with Coalbeard's collapsible compartment, 5 Grunstock Thunderers, and then we've got an endless spell, the Blood Rack Viper, and we've got an extra command point in this army as well, rounding us out at a nice, perfect 1,000 point. Now, this army is pretty cool. It's got a lot of cool little movement tricks. And the big movement trick here comes from the fact there's a breeze if you always look for it, which is one of the special rules we get from being Baron Zilfin. What this allows us to do is make a move in the hero phase. This will then allow our Thunderers to jump out of the Grunstock Gunhauler and get all their cool rules for their shooting that they don't get if they're part of a garrison. So this does mean if you want your Thunderers to have all the cool looking weapons, you can do that and get all the benefits out of them by doing these certain tricks. Now, there's a few different plays in here. Pretty much the army is going to be the Archnaut Company and the Chemist, generally holding back and holding your objectives. Meanwhile, you've got the other things flying around, your Grunstock, Gunhauler and Thunderers, and your Engine Riggers and Skywardens, all flying around and sort of being the things that go around and kill your opponent's stuff. For Endless Spell, we've chosen the Bloodrack Viper. I think this is a really cool Endless Spell for Kharadron Overlords to take. So what this Endless Spell does is it rolls 3 dice and at a unit, and if it exceeds or equals their wounds characteristic, they die. What this is really cool at is it gives you a 50% chance to remove 5 wound heroes off the table. You've got a pretty good chance of getting rid of 5 wound heroes, so I think this is pretty cool. There's a couple of other cool Endless Spells for the 40 points that this one costs. You could have, say, the Burning Head to give yourself some reroll ones to hit if you would need it. And you've also got other things like Soul Snare Shackles, which are really cool. The Shards of Valagar, another really cool Endless Spell at 40 points. Or even Soulscream Bridge, or in not wanting to block off a same singular shooting army, you go something like the Prismatic Palisade as well. There's a bunch of options. For me, Spell and Bottle is one of the coolest things in Kharadron Overlords, and I love using it, and I really like the idea that you could build this list pretty much off the back of the Start Collecting box, plus this new box set, and a couple of boxes of Archnaut Company. It's really cool, really fun, and let us know in the comments below what you think of all of this, the new box set and this little list here. Well, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below as well. If you'd like to catch up with some more fantastic Warhammer Age of Sigmar content, go check out our featured channel section where there's a bunch of other fantastic Warhammer Age of Sigmar content. And while you're at it, if you'd like to chat more Warhammer Age of Sigmar with us here at Cinderful Gaming, you can follow a link in the description to our Discord server and come chat with us over there. Lastly, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who supports the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you to James, AJC, JC, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Alderman Shotfirst, Cowspawn, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, and Nathan Thee. Thank you all for helping support the channel like you do, and if you'd like to help support the channel like them, you can find a link to our Patreon and YouTube members in the description of the video as well. Thank you all for watching though. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.